The rain had been falling for 3 days straight, turning the small town's streets into mirrors of gray sky and flickering streetlights. I sat by the window, clutching the same cup of tea that had gone cold hours ago, unable to look away from the phone lying on the table. It had been 15 years since my daughter, Emily, was buried. 15 years since that night of flashing red lights, hospital monitors, and the moment her heartbeat flatlined before my eyes. For years, I convinced myself that grief fades, that time really does heal. But that night, when the phone rang at exactly 2:17 a.m., the same time she had died, everything I believed shattered in one single vibration. I almost didn't pick it up. The screen showed unknown caller, but my heart, in some impossible way, already knew. When I answered, the line was filled with static, and then, her voice. Soft, trembling, the same tone she used when she'd wake me up in the middle of the night as a little girl. "Mom, can you hear me?" I froze, breath trapped in my chest. The logical part of me screamed this couldn't be real, that it was some cruel prank or a dream. But every part of my soul recognized that voice. "Emily?" I whispered. The silence stretched, broken only by faint interference, like distant wind through broken glass. Then she said something that made my skin crawl. "They're trying to keep me here. Please, find me before they close the gate." The call ended before I could say a word more. I sat there shaking, staring at the dark screen, the reflection of my own terrified face staring back. For hours, I couldn't move. The old grandfather clock ticked endlessly, marking the seconds of disbelief. By morning, I convinced myself it was a hallucination, maybe a dream brought on by loneliness and too many sleepless nights. But when I checked the call log, there it was. Incoming call, 2:17 a.m. My hands went cold. The number wasn't just unknown, it didn't exist. It was a string of symbols, not digits, as if from another world. That's when I called David, my late husband's closest friend, a retired detective who had helped us during those dark days after Emily's death. He was skeptical at first, but when he came over and saw the call log, he went silent. "You know this doesn't make sense, right?" he finally said. "It's probably some kind of glitch. Numbers like this aren't even possible." "Then explain the voice," I said. "Explain how she knew about the gate." He frowned. "What gate?" I didn't know either. All she had said was, "before they close the gate." It haunted me the entire day, that phrase circling in my mind like a whisper from somewhere between dream and memory. By evening, I received a message on my phone, a picture. It was old, grainy, and yet unmistakable. Emily, standing by a rusted iron gate surrounded by mist. The timestamp on the photo said it had been taken today, for 12 p.m. My hands trembled so badly, I nearly dropped the phone. I hadn't been to her grave in months. That's where the gate was, in the old part of Fairview Cemetery. I called David immediately. "We need to go," I said. He hesitated. "If someone's playing with you, we need to involve the police." "And if it's not?" I asked. He sighed. "Then God help us both." We drove there just before sunset, the rain slowing to a misty drizzle. The cemetery was empty, the kind of silence that makes your heartbeat sound like thunder in your own ears. I led him to Emily's grave under the twisted willow tree. The gate she had mentioned was only a few yards away, an old, rusted archway that hadn't been used in decades, half swallowed by vines and moss. The lock was broken. "Looks like someone's been here," David muttered, shining his flashlight on the disturbed ground near the gate. Mud was smeared like footprints leading toward Emily's grave. "Animals," I said weakly, though even I didn't believe it. The air felt heavier there, thick with an energy that pressed against the skin. That's when I noticed it, a faint sound like music coming from beneath the ground. I dropped to my knees, pressing my ear to the wet earth. A melody I knew too well. "That's her lullaby," I whispered. It was the same tune I used to hum to Emily when she couldn't sleep as a child. "That's impossible," David said, taking a step back. "There's no source, it's coming from underground." He shone the light directly onto her grave, and for a moment, I thought I saw something shimmer beneath the soil. A faint bluish glow, pulsing like a heartbeat. I reached for it instinctively, but David stopped me. "We need to think before we do anything stupid," he said. "If something's down there, we should get it checked legally." But every second that passed filled me with a rising dread, the memory of her words echoing in my mind. "Find me before they close the gate." "We don't have time," I said. "If she's trying to reach us, this might be our only chance." David stared at me, conflicted, then exhaled. "You know this could ruin everything. If anyone finds out, it's desecration." Then we'll do it quietly, I replied. No one needs to know. That night, under the cover of darkness and mist, we returned with shovels, gloves, and flashlights. The world felt smaller, like time itself was holding its breath. David kept muttering to himself, cursing softly as he dug. I can't believe I'm doing this, he said. You'd better be right about this, Mary. I just want to see, I whispered. If it's really her, or something else entirely. We dug for nearly 2 hours before the shovel hit something solid, a hollow sound that made my stomach twist. That's it, David said. We cleared the rest of the dirt with our hands, revealing the edge of the coffin. My breath caught as the flashlight glinted off metal hinges. Ready? He asked, his voice shaking. I nodded. He pried it open. What we saw inside froze both of us in place. Emily's body lay there exactly as it had 15 years ago, untouched by time. No decay. No dust. Just the faint scent of lavender, the same perfume she wore as a teenager. And resting on her chest was her old phone, glowing faintly blue. The same light we had seen through the soil. This can't be real, David whispered, stepping back. 15 years, she should be nothing but bones. My legs gave out. I fell to my knees, trembling, reaching toward her hand. Her skin was warm. Not living warm, but not cold either. The phone suddenly vibrated once, startling us both. A message appeared on the cracked screen. You found me. Now take me home before the gate closes. My heart pounded in my chest. David looked at me, his face pale as a ghost. Mary, what the hell is going on? I don't know, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. But she's not gone. Not completely. He swallowed hard, glancing at the shadows stretching across the graves. Then whatever we're dealing with, we're already in it. We lifted the casket lid fully. The blue glow pulsed stronger, as if reacting to the open air. For a moment, it felt like the night itself leaned in to listen. And in that moment, a faint voice, not from the phone but from the air around us, whispered, Hurry, they're coming. David and I froze, our flashlights trembling as that whisper drifted through the night air. It wasn't loud, but it carried a weight that sent chills crawling down my spine. The sound didn't come from one direction. It seemed to echo from everywhere, from the trees, the ground, even the air itself. Did you hear that? I whispered, my voice cracking. David's face was pale, his breath visible in the cold air. Yeah, he said quietly, scanning the dark with his flashlight. And I really wish I hadn't. The blue glow from Emily's phone grew stronger, the faint hum returning, vibrating through the soil beneath our feet. We have to move her, I said, voice trembling. She told us to take her home. David hesitated. Mary, listen to yourself. This isn't your daughter anymore. Whatever this is, it's something else. She called me, David. I shot back. She sent me messages, pictures. Everything she said has led us here. I can't just leave her. He looked down at Emily's perfectly preserved face, his jaw tightening. If we take her, and something happens, that's on both of us. Then I'll take the blame, I whispered. I already buried her once. I'm not doing it again. After a long moment, he sighed and helped me lift her from the casket. Her body was lighter than it should have been, like she was filled with air instead of flesh. As we wrapped her in the blanket I'd brought, the light from the phone seemed to pulse faster, syncing with the rhythm of my heartbeat. The sound around us grew faint, like distant whispers growing restless. We carried her through the cemetery, our footsteps muffled by the wet ground. Every few seconds, I'd glance back, half expecting to see shadows moving among the gravestones. When we reached the car, David hesitated again. If anyone sees this, no one will, I said. We'll take her to my house. That's what she asked for. He nodded reluctantly and helped me place her in the back seat. The phone's light dimmed slightly, as if acknowledging the decision. As we drove away, the rain started again, harder this time, the wipers barely keeping up. Neither of us spoke. The only sound was the rhythmic tapping of rain and the occasional hum from the phone. When we reached my house, it felt like stepping back into the past. Every photo, every corner still carried her presence. Her room upstairs remained untouched since the day she died, her books neatly stacked, her favorite stuffed bear still on the bed. We laid her down gently. The glow from the phone filled the small room with a strange, serene light. Now what? David asked. The phone buzzed once more. A new message appeared, water, light, music. I remembered the lullaby from the grave, the same song she used to hum before bed. I think she's telling us what she needs, I said. I brought a glass of water, and when I touched it to her lips, the water seemed to vanish, absorbed into her skin without her moving a muscle. David stared in disbelief. "That's not possible," he murmured. "Nothing about this is possible," I replied softly. I opened the curtains, letting the moonlight fall across her face. Then I turned on her old music box, the one that played her lullaby. The soft notes filled the room, trembling through the air like fragile wings. The phone flickered again, a final message appearing. "Thank you. Tomorrow." Then the screen went dark. For a moment, everything was still. I sat beside her, clutching her hand. It was warm now, warmer than before. "She's coming back," I whispered. David rubbed his temples. "Mary, if that's true, we have no idea what we're dealing with." "Then we'll find out tomorrow," I said, eyes fixed on her still face. He stayed for a while longer, watching her from the corner of the room, before finally standing. "I'll come back at sunrise," he said. "Don't do anything alone, promise me." I nodded, though I knew I wouldn't sleep. After he left, I sat by Emily's bed for hours, unable to tear my eyes away. The house felt different, alive in a way it hadn't in years. The air shimmered faintly, as if charged with invisible energy. Around 3 a.m., I must have drifted off. I dreamed of her again, not as the girl I buried, but older, her face serene and wise. She stood in a field of white light, holding her phone, smiling. "You did it, Mom," she said. "But we're not safe yet." I woke with a start, heart pounding. The music box had stopped, and the room was filled with a low hum. The same tone from the grave, but louder, almost alive. Emily's phone was glowing again, the light spreading across her body like veins of blue fire. "Emily," I whispered. The light pulsed faster, brighter, filling the entire room. My eyes watered, and I had to turn away. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The phone's light faded, and the silence that followed was so heavy it made my ears ring. I turned back and froze. Her fingers had moved. Just slightly, but enough to see. "Oh my God," I whispered. Her chest rose, barely perceptible, a shallow breath. Her skin looked alive now, color blooming slowly in her cheeks. I pressed my trembling hand to her face. It was warm. She wasn't dead anymore. I stumbled back, covering my mouth in disbelief. Her phone buzzed once more. A final message appeared. "Don't open the door." I blinked, confused. "What door?" I whispered. Then from downstairs came a soft, deliberate knock. 3 slow, heavy knocks on the front door. My heart stopped. I looked toward the hallway, then back at Emily's still form. The phone buzzed again, the same message repeating over and over. "Don't open the door. Don't open the door." The knocking came again, louder this time. Whoever, or whatever, was outside knew I was there. For days after the encounter in the hallway, Evelyn could not bring herself to sleep properly. Every night, she left her phone on the bedside table, screen up, volume full, as though waiting for something she was too afraid to receive. The silence of the house grew heavier. Even the ticking clock in the living room seemed to mock her with every second that passed. She began to notice little things, the scent of her son's old cologne drifting faintly in the air, the creak of the stairs as though someone had just gone up, the distant sound of a voice humming the song Daniel used to sing while studying. Evelyn told herself it was imagination, grief taking shapes to comfort her. But deep down, she knew something had shifted in her world the moment she heard that first call. One evening, while she was sorting through Daniel's things, she found an old recording device from his college days. A small silver digital recorder that had once been used for interviews and projects. It hadn't been touched in years. Out of curiosity, she pressed the play button. Static filled the air for a few seconds, then his voice, warm, full of life, came through. "Mom, if you're hearing this, I'm probably trying to make you laugh." She froze, unable to breathe. "But seriously," the recording continued, "I just want to remind you how much I love you, no matter where I am." Evelyn's hands trembled. She dropped the recorder on the floor and stepped back, heart racing. The timing, the coincidence, it was too much. That night, she called her sister and begged her to stay over. But by the time her sister arrived, the air in the house had gone cold, like a storm brewing without wind. They tried to sleep in the living room together. Around midnight, Evelyn's phone lit up. Another call. The same number. Her sister urged her not to answer, but Evelyn's trembling hand reached out on its own, pressing the green button. "Mom," the voice said, softer this time, weaker, almost fading. "Please don't let them take me." Evelyn's throat tightened. "Who, Daniel? Who's trying to take you?" But the voice dissolved into static, followed by something else, a low whisper, deep and inhuman, saying something that made her blood run cold. He doesn't belong there. The call cut off. Evelyn dropped the phone, eyes wide in terror. Her sister saw the look on her face and demanded to know what had happened, but Evelyn could only whisper. Someone else was on the line. The next morning, they went to the police, but as before, there was nothing to trace. The calls weren't coming from any known number, no record, no signal. Just emptiness. The officer gently suggested therapy, but Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that her son was trapped. Not gone, not free, but stuck somewhere between. In desperation, she contacted a local priest known for helping families experiencing supernatural phenomena. The man, Father Harris, agreed to visit the house. When he arrived, the air seemed to react to him. The temperature dropped suddenly, and a faint buzzing filled the air. He walked around, murmuring prayers under his breath, sprinkling holy water in each corner. When he reached Daniel's room, the lights flickered violently, then went out. The room filled with an almost tangible presence. Heavy, pressing, sorrowful. Evelyn clutched her chest, whispering her son's name. Suddenly, the phone on the bedside table buzzed and lit up, though there was no power. Father Harris ordered her not to answer, but Evelyn couldn't resist. She picked it up, tears streaming down her face. "Daniel," she cried, "I'm here. Tell me what to do." For a moment there was silence. Then the voice came again, faint, breaking. "Mom, I can see you. I'm trying to come home, but they won't let me." The priest began chanting louder, his voice filling the room with authority. A gust of wind roared through the house, even though every window was shut. Books flew off shelves, curtains whipped like angry flames. The phone screamed, a high-pitched tone that pierced through their ears. Evelyn dropped it and covered her face. And then everything stopped. The silence was complete, thick, unnatural. Father Harris looked pale, his breathing heavy. "There's something here that doesn't want to leave," he whispered. "It's using your love as a bridge." Evelyn felt her knees weaken. "You mean, I'm keeping it here?" The priest nodded. "Grief can anchor spirits, especially those who died suddenly. If you keep answering the calls, it will never find peace." Evelyn's heart shattered at the thought. But what if he's in pain? What if he needs me? The priest placed a hand on her shoulder. "He doesn't need saving anymore, only releasing." That night, Evelyn sat alone in Daniel's room, staring at his photo. She spoke softly into the quiet, as if he could hear her. "If you can hear me, my baby, it's okay. You can rest now." The phone lay next to her, dark still. Hours passed, and just when she thought she could finally sleep, it buzzed once more. Her eyes filled with tears as she picked it up. "Daniel," she whispered. This time, the voice was clear, calm, almost serene. "Thank you, Mom." And then the line went dead, but for the first time in weeks, the air in the house felt light. She smiled through her tears, believing it was over. But as dawn broke and the first light touched the window, the phone vibrated again. No name, no number, just one word flashing across the screen. Home. For the next few days, Evelyn lived in a strange calm. The air inside the house no longer felt heavy, and the shadows no longer moved when she turned her back. She began to believe the nightmare had finally come to an end. She went about her days quietly, cleaning Daniel's room, folding his clothes one last time, and placing his favorite books in a box she planned to donate. At night, she would light a candle by his picture and whisper a prayer. "Be at peace, my son." But peace, she soon realized, was only an illusion. On the 7th night after the final call, Evelyn awoke to the sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate, echoing through the hallway. She told herself it must be the house settling, but the sound grew louder, closer, and then stopped right outside her bedroom door. Her heart pounded. She sat up in bed, staring at the thin line of light beneath the door. A shadow fell across it. Then a soft knock. "Mom," came the voice, his voice. Unmistakably Daniel's, gentle but wrong, stretched thin like a recording slowed down. Evelyn froze. Every part of her wanted to believe it was him, but another part, the one that had listened to the priest, whispered, "Don't answer." "Mom, it's cold," the voice said again, trembling. "Let me in." Tears filled her eyes. "Daniel," she whispered, "you're free now, sweetheart. You don't have to come back." Silence. Then a low, guttural sound that made her blood run cold. Not Daniel's voice, but something mocking his tone, twisting it. "You called me home." The lights flickered, and the candle by the bedside extinguished with a hiss. The door creaked open, inch by inch. Evelyn held her breath, her fingers clutching the cross around her neck. The air turned icy. In the faint moonlight, she saw a shape, tall, thin, like a man but distorted, its face blurred, its eyes hollow and gleaming. "You wanted your son," it whispered. "Now he's home." Evelyn screamed and stumbled backward, grabbing the phone from the nightstand. She dialed the priest's number, but the line only filled with static. The figure stepped closer, its voice now a mix of Daniel's and something ancient. "You should never have answered." She dropped the phone and ran from the room, her bare feet slapping against the cold floor. Down the stairs, through the kitchen, she fled to the front door, but it wouldn't open. The lock twisted violently on its own. Behind her, the voice grew louder, deeper, closer. "You belong with him now." Evelyn turned to face it, tears streaking her face. "You're not my son," she screamed. The creature paused, its head tilting to one side, and for a split second, its features shifted. Daniel's face appeared, sad and frightened. "Mom," he whispered, "don't let it retake me." Then the lights exploded, plunging the house into darkness. Evelyn covered her ears, screaming his name as the world around her spun into chaos. Pictures fell off walls, windows cracked, and the air filled with a howl that seemed to come from both inside and outside her. She fell to her knees, clutching the cross so tightly it cut her palm. "In God's name, leave us alone," she shouted. And then everything stopped. The silence that followed was absolute. The cold lifted. Slowly, she opened her eyes. The house was still. The door, suddenly loose, swung open with a gentle creak, letting in the first hint of dawn. Evelyn trembled as she looked around. No shadow, no sound, only the faint smell of smoke and metal. The phone lay on the floor, cracked, its screen faintly glowing. A single message appeared on it. "Thank you for letting me go." Evelyn wept, her body shaking with relief and sorrow. She walked outside barefoot, watching the sunrise paint the sky gold. For the first time in months, she felt Daniel's presence not as pain but as peace. She whispered, "Goodbye, my love," and turned to go back inside. But as she reached the doorway, she froze. Her phone, lying where she had left it, began to ring again. The same ringtone. The same vibration. Slowly, her eyes widened. The name flashing on the screen wasn't Daniel this time. It was her own. Incoming call, Evelyn. Her breath caught in her throat. She stared at it, paralyzed, as the phone continued to ring. A wind stirred through the hallway, lifting the curtains, carrying with it a faint echo. Her own voice, soft and distant, whispering from somewhere beyond. "I told you not to answer." The screen flickered, then went black. Evelyn dropped the phone, backing away as the sound of footsteps began again. This time, not from outside the door, but from the ceiling above, slow, steady, deliberate. The candle on the table flared to life on its own, the flame twisting like it was breathing. Evelyn's lips trembled. She turned toward the stairs, knowing what waited for her at the top. And yet she climbed, one step at a time, whispering Daniel's name. When she reached his room, the door was open, and inside, the air shimmered like heat on pavement. The bed was neatly made, the phone from weeks ago lying on the pillow, its cracked screen glowing faintly with a message she couldn't remember typing. "We are home." She took one step closer, and as her reflection appeared in the window, she saw not one face, but two. Hers and Daniel's, side by side, smiling faintly in the pale morning light. And then the house fell silent forever.